All right, so let's go over our diaphragm breathing exercise. This exercise is going to be for stabilizing the low back, activating all of your core muscles while training the body to breathe at the same time. So it helps for video purposes to have a couple visual representations so you can see which parts of my body are moving. It's a little difficult to see unless we do that. So I'm going to lay flat on my back and I'm going to use one ball on my belly and one ball up here on my chest. Now when you're doing this, I want you to rest your hands in these positions so you can kind of feel what's moving and what's not. So ideally, when we take in a breath, we want the lower part of your abdomen to raise straight up towards the ceiling when we first start this exercise. So as we breathe in, and breathe out, we start to activate the lower portion of our abdomen. Now, commonly what we see is this pattern where breathing in, we breathe into our chest, and that top ball starts to move up towards my head. So ideally, what we want to see is this region to be relatively still through the first portion of the breath. So what I'm going to do is actually take my ribs and kind of press them down into the floor a little bit to keep my ribs stable, and then I'm going to pull that breath deep into my belly. And then I breathe out. So ideally, you're going to repeat this exercise for 20 breaths twice a day. Now, to get a little more fancy with this exercise, once you've mastered the front wall breathing, we're going to go into the sides of our body. So what I like to do is take my hands as a C shape like this. I'm going to go right into the soft portion of my abdomen between my ribs and my pelvis. So I'm going to press in just a little bit, and then as I breathe and out, I want to try to press my hands outward with my stomach muscles. So I breathe in, push my hands outward, and as I breathe out, I'm slowly drawing my abdomen in towards my spine. So breathe in, expand the abdomen out. As I breathe out, pull my belly button in towards my spine, nice and tight. Now the next step, if you want to make it even more difficult, if you've mastered those two, we'll go into back wall breathing. So for this one, I'm just going to use my thumbs right into my lower back. And as I breathe, I'm going to try to press my back into the floor so that I'm activating the back wall of my abdomen. So what I don't want to see is a lot of movement up in the front anymore, because this is now going to be compressing down towards the floor as I'm breathing. So I'm holding this tight, holding my sides tight, and as I breathe, I'm pushing my back into the floor, and then I breathe out. It's totally normal if you feel pressure in your low back on this exercise. It means that you're doing it right. When we breathe, our diaphragm, which is our primary breathing muscle, is going to drop down as we breathe in, and then as we breathe out, it's going to come up and relax. So that's a totally normal thing for you to start to feel pressure, especially on the inhale, because we're increasing pressure in the low back, and as we breathe out, we're decreasing pressure in the spine. So what we're doing is creating this, it's like an accordion type of movement in the spine, which actually hydrates the discs and creates more stability by activating those muscles of our core. So again, you're going to do this exercise twice a day for 20 breaths. It shouldn't take more than a couple minutes to complete that exercise, but do your best. It's not easy. You're going to be like, what the heck am I doing? I cannot breathe into my stomach. Keep practicing it. It will come as you practice. So keep up the good work. Let me know if you have any questions. Contact me at the office if you need anything.